Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, I love to talk about self-care that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. It is self-care that takes courage, it's on the inside, and it is transformational. I would love to give you a gift at the end of this episode, so be sure to stick around. Now, today we are wrapping up the month on shifting your relationship with time. Courageous Self-Care has 12 foundations, and that is the first one. When you shift your relationship with time, it affects every single moment of your day. When you remove that energetic stress and tension that most people tend to have in relation to time, you will find that you have so much more energy. You are more focused on abundance than on lack energy, and a lot of tension and stress are alleviated. Throughout the month, I've been giving lots of tips, strategies, and actions on how to consider time your best friend rather than your enemy. Today, I'm going to wrap it up with the last, well, it's not the last tip, but we've run out of month. So I have more information, but we'll keep it at that. So what I want to share with you today is how to become unreachable and the benefits of being unreachable and why you would want to do that. So let's get into that in a moment. The other thing I would love to invite you to do is, if you are interested in becoming a guest expert on the show and sharing your story of everyday courage, please go to christinamarlette.com, click on apply to be a guest, and I would love to have you on the show. All right, so first of all, I mentioned unreachable. What does it mean to be unreachable? In our current age of technology and being connected to all sorts of devices, we are very rarely unreachable. This is kind of along the same lines of being unplugged, with a little bit of a different focus. So being unreachable means it's got a couple of aspects to it. The first one is that you are making a choice to be unreachable. You might still have your cell phone right next to you, so it's not necessarily unplugging, but it is for a certain amount of time declaring to yourself that you are on your own. You don't answer anything, you don't respond to anyone, you are unreachable. And the other aspect of being unreachable is removing yourself from the temptation of being reachable. So for me, I decide every day to be unreachable for a certain amount of time, and I'll get into why I do that in a moment. How often do we want to be unreachable? I've experimented with this, and I would say what's been the most beneficial to me is having a certain amount of time every day where I am not available. So sometimes it looks like me going out for a walk and I leave all my devices behind. It's just me and Mother Nature, and no one knows where to find me. Oh, it feels really good. If you are anything like me, there are a lot of people who put demands on your time and expect answers and solutions within seconds. It feels amazing to be not available to all of those pulls on my energy for a certain amount of time every day. One practice I've been experimenting with is going out for a walk after lunch. And I leave my phone, I leave the computer, I leave everything behind, and I tune into what is real in the moment. So I even work on getting my thoughts and my mind to be not connected to all of those demands. I focus on what's happening, I listen to the birds, I look around, I might be reciting a mantra or an affirmation in my head, and it's time away from all of those draws and pulls on my everyday life. Another way to be unreachable, and I've talked about this several times this month, is during meditation. Lately, while I've been meditating, I've been noticing that I don't need to be anything to anyone. In the time that I am being in stillness, it's just me. And I don't even have to identify myself as who I am. I am simply energy connecting with other energy. That is really unreachable. The older version of me, if a phone call came in or one of my kids started talking to me while I was meditating, I would stop what I was doing and reach back into the world of action and responsiveness. However, I have learned that to have this period of time where I am unreachable every day is such a powerful gift to give myself. And so now, if the phone rings or I hear a text come in or something happens while I'm having my period of unreachability, I let it go. And I really tune into what serves me best in this moment. Is it to answer the phone? Is it to respond to that text? Is it to do something with my kids? No, it is the gift I'm giving myself. And I often say, when we prioritize our own well-being on purpose, everyone benefits. So most things aren't all that urgent. We pretend that they are, we start to believe that they are, but most things can wait. And it is so powerful to give myself the gift of being unreachable for a few minutes every day. It doesn't have to be hours and hours. It's not as dramatic as going on a retreat where you're unplugged the whole time. For some people, that sounds like the best thing ever. And for other people, that sounds terrifying. So if you have this call to slow down, and a retreat of being unplugged or a holiday sounds like the ultimate, but you just can't imagine it, this is a way to build up your resistance to responding immediately. This has been really challenging for me. It has taken courage, especially if I have read an email and there's something that's not quite right and it feels like my reputation is on the line. I want it resolved right away so people aren't conjuring thoughts about what kind of person I am. Whew, that's when it takes the most courage to be in my own energy, remind myself that there's no need to defend myself to myself. I know what kind of a person I am, and I'm happy with who I am. And those issues can wait a few minutes. So to answer that question succinctly, how often to be unreachable, I recommend a few minutes every day, whether it's going out in nature, whether it's meditating, or even if you're involved in one task, allowing yourself to be immersed in that task. So for instance, if I'm making dinner, I might decide to be unreachable while making dinner and just focus on, I like to put on music while I'm preparing food, so just focusing on the music, focusing on putting my love into the food, being creative and enjoying that time without someone from the outside world shattering that gift I'm giving to myself. Now, what are the benefits of being unreachable? First of all, when you decide to be unreachable, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you are sending out a very strong message to the universe or the world or your family or to other people. Essentially, you're setting a boundary. And within that boundary is self-love. So you're making this wall or space around yourself where you are saying with conviction, I'm going to be me for a little while. I'm not going to take care of anyone else. I'm going to take care of myself. What an amazing gift. And then what happens when you are finished that time of being unreachable, you are better able to give and be within the flow of giving and receiving. So yeah, that benefit is the gift of creating that space and time around yourself, getting into the energy of receiving rather than always giving. Very powerful. Another benefit of being unreachable is it lowers stress. So if you are someone who has a stressful lifestyle, you feel like you're always rushing from one place to the next, being unreachable really shifts that. You can guarantee yourself whatever your amount of time is, let's say it's 5 minutes, you can guarantee yourself 5 minutes where it will be stress-free because you are just focused on you and being in your own energy. No one can disrupt it. What a gift to give yourself. Let that land for a moment. Being unreachable reduces stress. It's a gift you give to yourself. And the third benefit is, I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, you teach people how to treat you. So when you are constantly saying yes to others without any reflection on how it is serving you or detracting from you, you are saying, yeah, please go ahead and ask me to do more. I'll just keep on saying yes. And so people will keep on doing that. When you teach people around you that you are important, that your time and energy are important, you are also teaching them how to treat you. So going back to meditation, with my kids, I have let them know on a variety of occasions, and it's starting to hit home now that they meditate themselves, that when I'm meditating, that's time just for me. So whatever you think your emergency is, or you have a thought to share or a story, please let it wait because this is time just for me. What a powerful message to teach other people. And the more you can prioritize that energy that you have, cultivating that quiet time or that time where it's just for you, you're setting an example for people in your life, and you are also setting that boundary. It might even give you more strength and courage to be able to say no to someone when they're asking you to do something that isn't a fit for you, it doesn't resonate with you. So those are some of the main benefits of being unreachable. Your action step is to decide today how long and when you are going to be unreachable, and decide what it's going to look like. Will it be going outside without any devices or technology? Will it be meditation? Will it be simply creating a boundary for yourself and deciding on that amount of time where you aren't going to respond to anyone no matter what they need from you? Decide on how you're going to do that and experiment with it. You'll probably notice some significant results within just a few days of trying it out. That is my recommendation for you. Now, I promised you a gift. I would love to give you a resource that I created called the Daily Self-Care Checklist. It is not a flashy name, but the resource is actually amazing. It can be completely transformational. It's not just a checklist, it's a teaching on some of the foundations of courageous self-care and how you go about incorporating them into your life. So if you're someone who likes written out instructions, you love checking off little boxes, you can go ahead and download it, print it out, take the teaching, and start to notice how courageous self-care shifts everything in your life, especially your energy, your sense of optimism, and your love for yourself. So go ahead and download that. You'll find it at ChristinaMarlette.com. I'm so grateful that you took time out to listen or tune in to this podcast/video. I will remind you that courageous self-care means there is no selfish involved. As I've mentioned several times during this episode, when you prioritize your own well-being, of course you benefit, and then everyone else benefits too. In your immediate circle of people that you deal with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, and then that energetic shift also ripples out into the world. It truly affects everything. So make sure that you are prioritizing your own well-being. Today you have now had the idea of being unreachable. Thank you so much for joining me. The Courageous Self-Care podcast airs Monday through Friday, so be sure to come back and listen again. Tomorrow we'll be moving into the second foundation of courageous self-care, which has incredible impact, and almost no one is teaching how to do it, especially when it's not really associated with self-care. But with my clients, I see that it is often the top priority on what we need to shift. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. I look forward to connecting with you again then. Bye-bye for now.